Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 9 of the Dungeon Lore series. In this series, I hope to explain the origins of each dungeon in Final Fantasy XIV, and maybe expand a bit on things you might not know. This episode's dungeon is Cutter's Cry. For a long time, the traders of Uldar often commissioned skilled botanists to bring fine samples and stocks of wood from the far reaches of Moldona, who would haul them through the regions of Thanalan back to the city-state. Along the way, the botanists would cross over Cutter's Pass, named as such for said botanists who long used the road. Upon the side of the road, just north of Blackbrush Station in central Thanalan, lies a cave known to many but braved by few, a cave known as Cutter's Cry. While appearing to be nothing more than a shady hollow in the rock from the outside, the complex within stretches far and deep under Thanalan, where it was confirmed that the hideous beast known as the Chimera was housed, causing most passers-by to give the place a wide berth. Around 30 years prior to the current age, Uldan merchants decided that the Chimera was to be too much of a hit to business if left well alone, and so hired a band of mercenaries known as the Darklight Raiders. Such was the way at the time, as adventurers were much less active and a hired group of sellswords at least promised some battle experience. Unfortunately for the raiders, however, most did not return from their excursion into the caves, with all but one of their members, Sibold the Stoic, returning to tell the tale. With this loss of life, however, the Chimera was deemed to be defeated, and the merchants continued their regular trade. Sibold, however, never forgot his fallen comrades, as once a year he set out to place Nymea lilies upon a mound outside the cave, honouring his brethren that passed. The Darklight Raiders' legacy was such that many bards throughout Thanalan sung songs of the 7 warriors that ventured into Cutter's Cry, only to see the one return, and it was sung as a song of victory and of sorrow, even to this day. Adventurers, after having defeated the Lord of Crags, come across Sibold in the steppes of Thal and Uldar, once again procuring the lilies he's always placed upon his fellows' graves. This time, however, Sibold feels as though he cannot make the journey, and that his own time is fast approaching. He requests the adventurers place the flowers in his stead, and speak the orison left for them. The adventurer journeys to the outside of the cave, where they complete Sibold's request and find Private Norman of the Immortal Flames adjacent to the entrance. He affirms to us that the Chimera thought to have been defeated all those years ago still lives, and has us listen to the sound calling from deep within, that of the Chimera's rattling breath and howls. The sound seems to grow stronger, affecting us to the very core, and the adventurers decide to have their own attempt at besting that which the Darklight Raiders could not. Upon entering the cave, the party encounters many ant-like creatures known as myrmidons, who spread themselves all throughout Cutter's Cry. To proceed through the chambers, the party must defeat several of these enemies, which causes the sands within to shift, allowing them to proceed further down into the complex. Along the walls and part of the floor here are egg sacs and cocoons, presumably belonging to the myrmidons. Along with the myrmidons and other creatures, the party must be aware of the sands constantly trembling and bursting, damaging them if they stand still around them too long. Proceeding through the third set of caves, the party turns a corner into a place known as the Feeding Pit, where a large Myrmidon princess attacks them. When injured, she calls upon several more Myrmidon guards to protect her. Upon defeat, the sands shift again and the party can proceed. Here, the party are faced with 2 rooms, both containing small oases, each housing enemies more expected of Thanalan, Sabatenders and Sandshells. Proceeding through the sands once more, the party reaches the Sunken antechamber. This room houses a giant tunnel worm, who appears to be the cause of many of the tremors within the caves, as during the fight, he does just that, tunneling towards party members and severely damaging them if bursting from underneath the ground onto them. The sands shift once more after this beast is felled, leading the party into the section of the dungeon known as the Blue Sands. Named as such for obvious reasons, the blue pools and overall bluish hue of the zone is a striking contrast to the golden sands of the floors above. Here the party encounters slip sands, slime creatures presumably melded or partially made from the surrounding sand, and stone Arcos golems. Here and there amongst the enemies are also several open cerulean vents, seemingly ignited for a long time. These vents explode if stood on and damage everything around them, and may also contribute to the blue tinge prominent among the last few halls. Proceeding further, the party notices a shift once again in the colours of the cave, going from blue with the ceruleum and blue tinted vegetation to a bright, deep red, with bright red crystals adorning the walls. Turning the final corner into the corridor leading to the Craver's Den, this red glow becomes even more prominent to the point of being overwhelming, and the party finally lays eyes on the horrible beast left unfinished by Sibbald and his crew. Within this large final room, there are countless remains of various creatures strewn across it, the many victims of the Chimera, whether it be those who dared venture too far into the cave, or simple animals who tried to make it their home. During the fight, the Chimera uses its signature techniques, sprouting from its many heads, such as the Ram's Voice, which will freeze nearby party members, the Dragon's Voice, which will electrocute those not nearby, and it will occasionally produce a small ball of lightning, which tracks a party member at random and explodes after a short time. Upon defeat, the Chimera finally falls to the floor, truly vanquished, and giving closure to the Darklight Raiders and the many others who fell to its fearsome abilities. And that's the end of the lore for Cutter's Cry. A tale stretched out over several decades, finally giving Sibbald some much needed closure, and letting him know that his comrades' deaths were never in vain after all. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel for more Final Fantasy XIV lore, and I'll see you next time for the Stone Vigil.